All right, what's going on, everybody? Hey, so somebody asked a question about writing guitar parts. I love this subject. It's something I'm very passionate about, something I spent a lot of my life trying to do. And it's tricky, it's difficult, and it's not always. Thank you, by the way, Joseph Isaac, for your question. You guys have had some great comments and questions, and I just thought this was like a great question. He was saying, thanks for the thoughts on the recording tips, etc. He said, I want to ask you how you write your guitar parts for songs when recording. Me and my band are trying to figure out how to write simple guitar parts, intro, licks, hooks, and instrumental parts. Okay, well, man, there's no right or wrong way on this, and it's not something that it's something I'm constantly trying to, get better at, learn more about. There's a few things, just for starters, it's always good. It's always good to try to keep it simple. That would be, one thing I would definitely say, as simple as possible. And so I would look at, the song as a whole and kind of get the vibe of it. If this song is supposed to be exciting, then you probably need a guitar part that doesn't feel heavy, right? It needs to feel bright and exciting and maybe have some sort of tone or some sort of part that matches the song, right? And I think that's something that I'm constantly working on, is trying to make sure that my guitars are matching the song, right? So like if it's a happy song and a joyful song, then the guitar parts are pretty hopefully happy and joyful. And if it's more contemplative or serious or kind of reverent, then I want those parts to match that. So I'm constantly working with that stuff, trying to find that out. So that would be one thing I would say, is like to make sure the tone is right. Not just the guitar tone, like what it sounds like, but the vibe of the song, the tone that you're setting with the guitar. And the other thing I would, I would say is to listen to the actual vocal in the song. Now this depends. If it's a song you're writing, you may not have the whole structure of the song. So the guitar part could actually end up dictating where some of the band and the voice, the lyric and the melody, it could dictate where that goes. But if let's say all that's already written, then the guitar parts are kind of complementing that, right? So you have to stay out of the way of the vocal. And I'm always thinking about that. I want to make sure I sit in a place that the vocal, and I've talked about that on the channel some, but that's something I'm constantly thinking about. It's like, okay, where's the vocal sitting, and can I find a spot that doesn't interfere with the vocal? And so one thing I do, and this is like, there's no right or wrong way, right? One thing I do is I kind of just like go fishing for a guitar part. That's kind of the way I think about it. I just kind of I start, like say the song's in G, right? So we'll do G, right? And I'll just start with the root note, like either here, right? Or here. And I'll just start kind of fishing. So let's say the chorus is kind of just like, let's say the chorus is like a, something kind of basic. I'm just picking something. I'll start with the one. So I might do like start with the one note. And there's a couple ways you could play this. You could play it straight, which would mean like, I gotta tap in my tempo here. So it'd be like, all right, let's do quarters. So I would tap in like quarter notes. Right? So if you have like a long delay, that could be cool for like a, chords, right? So I'm playing the root note for 1, and then when I get to the 6th minor, I just picked this 3 in the key of G. So like, so it's just that note right there, right? You're playing, so that's the 12th fret B string. And I played the whole opening riff on the B string, so I'm playing like, right? 3. Now that works over the 5 because the 5 chord, sorry if the numbers are confusing. When I get to the D chord in the progression, so we play G, E minor, D, C. So for G, I'm playing the root. Nice, and it's not going to be in the way of any vocal. It's just right down the middle. And then from the 6th minor, or the E minor, which is a note in the chord, which that's important. You don't have to play a note in the chord, but you kind of do. It kind of depends. There's no rule, but it's safer that way. And then you get to the when the D chord comes around in the progression. I played an A, and then when we got to the C, I actually played a C chord. Now that could be anything. You could play, you know, I could have come down here and played. Sometimes the E sounds nice on the C progression. So let's say that chord progression is coming around again, right? We're going. Right? So delay back on for some vibe. And then I'm playing. Nice with the delay, if you throw in a couple of notes that move, the delay moves all those notes. So that could be like on the end, instead of just playing that C chord like I just did, you could play, instead of like, so when you play like, you know, the delay catches all those notes. So sometimes it's nice to throw in like a little flutter kind of skippy kind of thing in there. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to mix it up and throw a little thing in there, and it kind of helps move the part along. So you know, this whole part I'm playing just pretty straight. You could double it if you need more like of an intense guitar part. So you're like, sometimes is I'll throw notes in between each moving progression. So like I'll slide and hit like a 5, like the D, which is the 5 in the key of G. I'll hit that in between to make it move around a little bit. So like, basically just I'm realizing as I'm playing that's very close to what I play on At the Cross or Love Ran Red. I play a really similar part to that is like a, so you get the idea. That's an example of a song that's used on. That's just kind of the first thing that came to my mind. I think maybe we'll just do a bunch of these because I have a lot to say on this. But right now, I would pick notes in the progression that are part of the chord, and then you can land on those. And that would be like kind of the first stage that I would go to for writing, would be like something like that. Now, we're not really even talking about rhythmic stuff or stuff that's going to be, you know, kind of like... that works with the rhythm instruments. This is just 8th note straight ahead. I'm not swinging the notes. I'm not worried about syncopation. It's just a quarter note delay. you know, tiny bit of reverb. And I'm on the neck pickup for like warmth, right? Just like a little kind of a warm, you know, guitar part. So what I'm saying is when you're writing guitar parts, sometimes you're writing a melody, right? And sometimes you're just kind of working your way through the chords, and that kind of becomes its own kind of signature part. That's just one way to play this. We can do two notes at the same time. You know, so we could do two notes at the same time, play a similar kind of progression, or bounce back and forth. Right? Oh, that's not right. And then back up to the 4 could be. Get to the 6 minor, you could just stay there. Down to the 5. And then to the 4. Also, you can do it an octave up. So hopefully you can hear the progression: G, E minor, D to C. I just made something up on the spot. But it gives you an example of a way that you could kind of move your way through a progression. These are kind of simple ideas, but they're effective, and sometimes it works well when you're first writing a song to start somewhere like that, to kind of get kind of a vibe maybe, or you know, there's obviously so many things to think about. You got to think about what the piano's playing. So sometimes I grab a few pieces of a piano part or a vocal hook. If there's like a little vocal hook, like say there's like a little vocal hook that's in there that's like, you know, I might grab that occasionally, or even just make the back half of the vocal hook part of the guitar hook. So there's a few tricks you can play with in there. We can just call this part 1 of writing guitar parts, because there's a lot of things to get to on this. But I figured I would just at least address the question. I thought it was a great question. So thanks, Joseph, and thanks to the other guys and gals for writing in and watching and subscribing and following along here. This is great. I hope you guys are having a good day. This is just a little something on writing guitar parts, and I hope it's helpful. And I hope to see you soon. There's other stuff in my other videos about these things, so you can go back and check those out as well. But by all means, yeah, thanks for watching. You guys are great. Yeah, ask me any questions below if that helps. And I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.